Good morning. Good morning. Do I look the same? There's something strange. I'm getting some error messages and there's something strange happening with the frame on my side. So I hope you can see me, hope you can hear me, hope all is well. Anyway, today is the third day of February, February 3rd, 2022. This is the 24th episode of season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show. I can't believe we're in season 3 already. Anyway, the theme for season 3 is doing. We'll get back to that in a second. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I'm a professional creative and the creator of what we're now calling the Hero Ministry Movement. And that's my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community and also everyone, to uplift and inspire everyone. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. And that's the way that we're uplifting and inspiring people, by uplifting, inspiring people to give, to join in that reciprocal action of helping others, and that helping others will reap optimism for you. It's a reciprocal action. So try that out. I'm telling you, it works. It works. It works. And quick disclaimer, I'm not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence, do your own research. I'm simply sharing with you what has worked for me, and in many cases, what has not worked for me in my journey to become my own hero, and specifically for season 2 and season 3, my journey to become my own financial hero. So if this show gives you any value, if you feel moved, if it encourages you, if it enlightens you, please like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube, all those good things, and spread the word. And also, that said, shout out to New Thought Media Network for giving this platform to talk about my journey of becoming my own hero. I got tongue-tied there. New Thought Media Network is a 501c3 nonprofit, so you can make a donation at ntmedia.org. The website, I just popped that up on the screen so you can see it. And you can see the other programming on the network as well. So, all that said, let's get into some Hero Ministry Movement news. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this is the season of doing. Season 3 of the Be Your Own Hero show is all about doing. In other words, I'm trying to make it as practical as possible for me and hopefully for you too. Okay, so shout out to the people who are checking in, joining in from all the various networks. I see that some of the streams aren't working today, but hopefully you guys will be able to catch the replay. Shout out to Nan, got her rock done. I still don't know how to pronounce it, Nan. Well, we're going to go with rock because that sounds aggressive. Got your rock done. All right. Shout out to Ray. Shout out to Gladys. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. There's something strange happening on my end, but we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep rolling. So shout out to all the people checking in live. I appreciate you commenting. All right, so run streak. Let's start there. Today is day 248 of my run streak. And every once in a while when I say it, it hits me. As you know, I say it every day, multiple times a day, so I get desensitized to it. But every once in a while, I'm like, wow, 248 days? I can't believe I've made it this far. So this is one of those days. I've been running every single day, at least a mile a day for 248 days in a row. And I'm coming up on milestone day 250. Again, my call to action for day 250 is that we all spread the word about the charity run at the same time. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I am on my 3rd charity run now. This charity run is for Mr. Charles. Some of you know this story. I discovered Mr. Charles when I ran a certain route a couple of weeks ago when there was heavy snow and ice here in Nashville. He'd fallen in the snow and broken his foot. And I'm raising money to help him, quote unquote, get back on his feet. So help me do that. That said, let's stay right there for a second. As of today, as of Thursday, we now have 8 people who have donated. We are now 35% of the way to our goal. And that does not even include this envelope. Mr. Charles is getting mail here at this address. That is so cool. So this letter is literally addressed to Mr. Charles, and I haven't opened it yet, but I'm sure there's a check in here for Mr. Charles. So that means 9 donations so far. more than 35% of the way to our goal. So very excited, lots of momentum going on. The word is getting out there. And again, the call to action is on, I don't know what day that'll be, but well, 2 days from now, on day 250 of my run streak. My intention is to really blast out the fact that we're doing this charity run so that we can get some other donations from people beyond our circle. That'll be really exciting and interesting. So stay tuned for that. Coming up soon, day 250. All right. So all that said, today, as I mentioned, day 248, it was another rain run for me, meaning it was raining yesterday and I ran in the rain, and it was raining today and I ran in the rain. So 2 rain runs in a row. I don't know if I've had 2 rain runs in a row before. I honestly don't remember. Maybe I have, but I don't remember. So I talked about that in my run report. The run report is up on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. So go check that out. I said what I hope are some interesting things. I tend to just hit the record button as soon as I finish. So I never know what I'm going to say. It's just whatever's top of mind about my run that morning. But as I'm thinking about it now, I am grateful for the ability to run in the rain 2 days in a row. That's growth, because it is challenging. It's much more challenging to run in the rain than it is on any other day. So shout out to compound interest. Shout out to showing up every day consistently and what that brings for myself and for you, which is a good segue for the 30-day challenge. Oh, sorry, I renamed it. The 30-day streak challenge. The 30-day streak challenge. So lots of interesting things going on in the Facebook group. I'm very excited about it. I want to give a shout out to Gladys. She wrote something yesterday that really resonated with me. She said, basically, on the days you feel like it, do more. Like if you're feeling it that day, do more exercise that day. But on the days when you're not feeling it, do less, but still do something, right? Just don't let a day go by without doing anything. And that's really good wisdom. And it's something that I hadn't put into words, but it's something that I applied early on during the 30-day challenge for me. Like, again, that was June of last year when I decided that I was going to run a mile a day every day for 30 days. So on June 1, I'm thinking at the end of the month, I'll end up with 30 miles, that I will run exactly 1 mile every day for 30 days. But that's not what happened, because there were days when I would feel it. There were days when I felt like it, like my birthday, for example, was one of those days when I felt like it. And so I did more on those days when I felt like it. And I did more on those days when I ran with Black Men Run, because they were doing more. And so I ended that first month with, I think, 62 miles, double what I intended to end the month with. So again, shout out to Gladys for that wisdom, and apply it liberally to your life. Show up every day for whatever it is you're trying to push past. It doesn't have to be exercise. Whatever it is you're trying to push through, show up every day. There will be days when you're feeling it and you'll do more. And there'll be other days when you're not feeling it and you'll do less. But on those days when you're not feeling it, don't not do something. Just do something. Do a little bit of something and make sure that you create that momentum of consistency that will yield compound interest. So, yeah. Anybody who's still interested in joining the 30-day streak challenge, let me know. Hit me up. I'll send you a link to the Facebook group so you can see what's going on in there. It's a great camaraderie, communal spirit happening in that group. Okay, so as I said before, based on Tim's suggestion a couple weeks ago, we're re-upping. We're just going to keep re-upping every month. So folks that quote unquote fell off, because we're not counting anything as a failure, but for folks who have been using the phrase fell off. Oh, wait, someone used the phrase that I like better. This is my 3rd attempt at 30 consecutive days. Someone said that in the group the other day. So just keep making the attempt to get 30 consecutive days. I'm advocating for 30 consecutive days because I'm going to use this quote that I got the other day. There's a freedom that comes from knowing that whatever tries to stop you has no chance. There's something powerful in that. Everyone should experience that at least once in their lives. that just push through everything. There's going to be so many reasons to not do it. There's going to be so many. They will magnify themselves for sure. You let one excuse through the door, and it's going to hold the door open for all his cousins and nephews and them. Watch. But you've got to be able to push past all of it, all those excuses. If you can do that for 30 days once, it just opens your mind in a different kind of way. Trust me. Okay, so that said, time to do the envelope challenge. Those of you in the group may have noticed I didn't post the envelope challenge in the group because I want to roll the dice live again, because make it like a game show. So let's see what we're doing. 4. Today's number is 4, so that's $4. Move $4 from your checking account into a bucket, a savings account, a brokerage account, someplace else. But just a reminder, try to keep the same bucket for 30 days, because what I was doing is I was doing multiple buckets, and I wasn't seeing the appreciation as quickly. But once I chose one bucket, I started to see the results much faster. So choose one bucket for 30 days and then change the bucket for the next 30 days. So number for the day is 4. All right, moving on. Talked about the 30-day challenge, talked about the charity run, very exciting. Talked about the envelope challenge, and all right, I think that's all the introductory stuff. Let's do the morning zen. So morning zen is going to be a little different today. I overslept. I missed an alarm. I'll put it that way. I missed an alarm, and so when I got up, it was later than I thought, and I am attempting to be relatively regimented about a couple things. I'm attempting to be, this is a peek into my own, what are we calling it? My own morning practice. So I'm attempting to be regimented about meditating at 6 a.m., like having a specific start time of 6 a.m. meditation time. So I started that recently. I've been a little bit loose about it before. I just did it at the end of my spiritual practice, but I'm trying to lock that in and therefore lock in other things around it. So that said, I woke up pretty close to 6 a.m. So I got in a brief reading of the 30-day mental diet before that. And then what I did to compensate is during my run, I listened to the 4 agreements. Typically during my run, I would listen to something that I'm trying to learn, some very complicated thing that feels too dense to sit and study. But what helps me study it is listening to it while running, and then it's like background noise. And then I get familiar with it as I run, which has been really helpful. I highly recommend it because, just quick sidebar, because what happens is when you've got this really dense subject you're studying, no matter what it is, and you start studying it and it's confusing, you get discouraged. But when you're running, it really does just fade into the background, and you know that your subconscious is drinking it in. But when you come back to study it later, it already feels that much more familiar. So that's been very helpful to me. Okay, sidebar done. So today, my morning practice involved me listening to the 4 agreements as I was running, and also a very brief reading of the 30-day mental diet. What I did was I read my highlights from last time. So let me read that. Oh, I had it pulled up. I think it went. Oh, here it is. Okay, 30-day mental diet. I believe this is day. I'm not sure what day it is. I don't want to lose my place, but I think it's like day 26 for me. Anyway, here we go. This week is about health in the 30-day mental diet. Okay. One of the most important things in discarding disease is to stop complaining about it. Cease focusing your attention on it, because what you give your attention to is augmented and promoted. As long as your thoughts dwell on illness, you have little chance to escape from it. As long as your thoughts dwell on illness, you have little chance to escape from it. The irony is, after reading that and listening to the 4 agreements as I was running, they overlapped. What I was listening to of the 4 agreements as I was running was about how complaining has become a habit, a communal habit. Like what we do often is we complain about something, and whoever we're talking to, they complain about something, and it's just this kind of this whirlpool of complaining, and that's a big part of the way we communicate. And when you step outside of that whirlpool, you'll start to notice much more how often people are complaining. So I invite you to complain less or complain not at all. It's challenging, but wean yourself off of complaining, as it says in the 30-day diet, about your physical ailments, but also wean yourself off of complaining generally. As you know, if you've been doing the 30-day mental diet class with Rev. Melissa, she has given the homework of not complaining for a week several times, and it's really, really challenging. It is probably the hardest diet you will ever go on. A complaining diet, hardest diet you will ever go on. Try it. Try it for one day. Try it just today and see how far you get. That means no complaining in your head either. Not just not saying things out loud, but no complaining in your head either, which typically means you catch yourself and then redirect. Okay, that's the end of that sidebar. Okay, so that's the morning Zen for today, a combination of a brief reading of the 30-day mental diet and also my listening to the 4 agreements as I was running. Okay, so it's just after 10 o'clock, so just a reminder to those folks who are just joining in, this show is now a half hour. We started at 9:45 a.m. Eastern time, and we're running till 10:15. If you missed the beginning, you can always catch the replay on Facebook and on YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, please like and subscribe, because then you'll get notifications of when the new episodes are up. All right, let's get into abundance. Let's get into abundance, shall we? Here's our affirmation, same affirmation all the time, drilling it in, making it a part of our subconscious mind. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. Okay, so before I move on, let me just pop in on the comments. Rock. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna work with it, Nan. I'm gonna work with it. Good morning, Natasha. Good morning, Love, Joy. We are all destined for greatness. Yes. Good morning, Tim. Thanks for being here. The water was replaced by Powerade this morning. Just full accountability, but I'll get some water in a minute after the show. Okay, so we're talking about abundance. Let's get into it. This is Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday. So I thought I would do 2 things. Let's see if I have enough time. I would tell 2 stories. Before I tell the 2 stories, just my usual reminder: poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy, they invest. So make sure that you are investing, because you're already spending, you're probably already saving. Make sure you're investing. It's not optional. Okay, so 2 stories. Here's mine, my personal story. Throwback Thursday. So here in Nashville, there's this group called Black Men Run. I've talked about them a lot. And within the group, this was pretty funny. When I joined the group and I said my name, Sekou, a lot of them said, "Oh, another one." And I was like, what? Because I don't get that a lot. With a name like Sekou, I don't get that kind of occurrence a lot. Where people are like, "Well, another Sekou?" Like, it's not as uncommon as you might think, but that was a little unusual. So there is another man in the group with the same name. He pronounces it differently. He pronounces it Sekou, but it's spelled the same. So when I came along, I said Sekou, people asked me how to spell it. They're like, "Oh, another one." So there's 2 of us in the group with the same name. I don't think there's 2 of any other name in the group except Sekou. Anyway, that's a sidebar. Here's the point. At the end of our runs, often he would yell out, "Who got more in the tank?" Now, mind you, we had just finished like 3 miles, a 3-mile run, and he would yell out, "Who got more in the tank?" And people would be like, yeah, I got more in the tank. And then they would go back out for another run, like another 3, 4, 5 miles. So they end up with 6, 7, 8 miles, sometimes 10. And I was always like, wow, I can't believe they're doing that. And I would say to myself, all right, one of these days, if I keep trying, if I keep showing up for myself, one of these days, when he says, who got more in the tank, I will feel like I got more in the tank, right? That never happened. That never happened. But I did start my run streak. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm on day 248 of my run streak. This is what I learned. What I learned is you're never going to feel like you got more in the tank. You're never going to feel like you got more in the tank. It happens, but it happens so rarely that you might as well not even count it at all. What happens is when someone says, do you have more in the tank? You say yes. And your saying yes activates something in you that rises to the occasion. You don't feel like it. You say you feel like it, and then that activates, starts the chain reaction that helps you move towards it. I know this because Antoine, I've mentioned him a number of times. He's invited me to do more several times. Like he invited me to run 10 miles recently. I talked about it. I did not want to run 10 miles. I did not think that I could run 10 miles, but I said yes, right? Because my new commitment is to say yes whenever someone asks me to do something related to running. And so I did it. And I was like, wow, I did it. And then after that, when he invited me to run a half marathon, I didn't think I could do that either, but I said yes. And I did it. And so it's the saying yes that activates something in you that moves you forward. So if you're waiting around to feel like doing it, don't wait. You're going to be waiting forever. You just got to say yes to whatever it is you're trying to do. And that will start the chain reaction that will get you moving in the right direction. So that's my story. That's my Throwback Thursday story. And I got a financial Throwback Thursday story. So long time ago, 1600s, 1700s, in China, feudal China, I'm sorry, not China, feudal Japan, the means of exchange was rice. So people were buying, selling, trading rice. That was the big commodity. So there was a lot of money being exchanged through that medium, through the medium of rice. And there was a wealthy family, and the son of that wealthy family studied the fact that people were buying, trading, selling rice, right? And he decided that he wanted to do it better. So he studied it religiously. He studied it. And then he discovered that he could, he thought, do better by studying the people who are trading the rice instead of the rice prices, right? So he devised a system where he studied the people. So that started off as individual people, but then became more global. Like, what is the mood, let's say, of the rice market? How is it flowing? How is it moving? Thinking about it as a whole. So he created this system, and then he became the biggest rice trader of his day. Like, he was killing it. He was killing the game. He was making more money via rice than anyone else. People kept asking him how he did it. He told the story of how he created the system based on how the market moves. That system is still in existence now in 2022. It was invented in the 1800s. It was first deployed on the Japanese stock market in the 1800s. So we're talking about from the 1800s till now, the system is still in use. What? Like, that boggles my mind that something that ancient could not only still be in use, but still be helpful. So the system is called the Candlestick System. Yes, candlesticks, as in lighting a candlestick. It's called the Candlestick System. And it was invented, here's my alarm. So I'm gonna wrap this up. It was invented to measure the rice market, the rice commodity, but it has expanded to measure any commodity that has a chart. Any commodity that has a chart. So I want to give you an example of this. This is fascinating to me. So here is your typical stock chart, commodities chart. It's super confusing, right? And that's why we all stay away from it, because it's too confusing to look at. And here's another one. Same thing, different angle, but it's very confusing. It's very daunting, right? Okay. Now this next photo is a candlestick pattern. So these are candlesticks. Obviously, it got the name because each of these individual bars look like candlesticks. The green candlesticks represent going up, and the red candlesticks represent going down. So basically like stop and go. Now this pattern is easy to look at, right? It's kind of easy on the eyes. You got a sense of, now that I told you the meaning, you got an easy sense of, whether it's moving up or whether it's going down, right? Now let's go back to the previous chart, shall we? Still confusing, but what stands out? The candles, they're blue and red instead of green and red, but they're right there. They're right there in the middle of it, right? It is a system for understanding commodities. So in this case, the stock market, but any commodity. Like it's a system that's being deployed right there. And let's go to the really confusing chart. Again, you can see the candles popping out, right? Like if you eliminate all the other noise and just focus on the candles, you see that the candles are right there prominently moving throughout this chart. And it is a system of studying the chart, a system of understanding what's happening in the market of any commodity, of any tradable commodity. So that's stocks, that's options, that's cryptocurrency, that's rice, that's whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. If it has a chart, you can apply candlesticks to the chart to understand what the chart is doing, to understand the mood, the movements of the chart. Fascinating, right? So again, the point is it's learnable. It's a system. That's the big takeaway for me. It's a system. It's a system that, in this case, a system that was invented in the 1800s and is still applicable today. But it's a system. Understanding the stock market is simply a system. If you apply your time and energy to learning the system, you can learn the market. What? Like all this gobbledygook can be, let me put it up again, can be easy to understand just by understanding one element of it? Yeah. So again, if you've been watching the show, you've been hearing me talk about stock trading recently and how I stumbled upon it and how I've been fascinated by the fact that it's less intimidating than I thought. And stories like the one I just told make it more interesting and more manageable. Because just knowing that if I applied myself to learning that system of candlesticks, I would be able to understand not just the stock market chart, but charts about all these different commodities. That is mind-boggling to me. Okay, so that's where we are. I'm going to keep talking about the stock market, I think. Well, trading specifically, I think. Just a reminder, I mentioned a couple cognitive biases that you're supposed to avoid in stock trading. The outcome bias, avoid the outcome bias, and avoid the recency bias. And what I said is, if you avoid outcome bias and recency bias in your life, it'll be easier to apply that to your financial life, no matter if you're trying to trade stocks or not. If you work on overcoming those biases, those cognitive biases ongoing, it will help you in your financial life. So there we are. All right, so now it's time for prayer time at 10:15, and that'll be followed up by Sip with Rev Melissa at 10:30. And I'll be producing that show, and I might pop in to say a word or two. So until you see me here tomorrow, keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect, and remember to go invest today. All right, I'll see you tomorrow. Later.